Kenyatta, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable William Ruto, Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Honorable Members of Parliament here present, Cabinet Secretaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished clergy, invited regional and international guests present, members of our county assemblies and county governments here present, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be with you this morning for this National Prayer Breakfast, and I take this opportunity to welcome you, particularly Your Excellency the President and Deputy President. I'm aware that you have several other engagements this morning. As already been said, this is the 14th of the National Prayer Breakfast organized by the Parliamentary National Prayer Breakfast Group, and I congratulate them for organizing this event every year. Distinguished friends and colleagues, let me observe that the foundation of any successful nation is a deep-rooted sense of national belonging, sovereignty, and nationhood. Citizens in their diversity enjoy and exercise their cultural, socio-economic, political, and religious rights, prayer being one of them. The theme of our prayer breakfast this year is trust, doing things right, character, leading and following. This theme reminds us the positive and good things we have achieved as a nation and how to sustain them alongside the challenges we have faced, particularly from the standpoint of asking the question, what can all of us be doing to encourage positive change? The issue of peaceful coexistence and cohesion should surely be the interest of all of us. It is easy to get caught up in the rush of our lives and in economic and political back and forth that characterizes our daily lives and get sidetracked with various distractions, large and small. This prayer tradition has brought us together, giving us the opportunity to come together in humility before the Almighty and to be reminded of what it is that we share as the children of God. Around the world, we see faith inspiring people to lift up one another, to feed the hungry, care for the poor, and also comfort the afflicted and make peace where there is strife. We see faith defining us to do right, but we also see faith being twisted, distorted, used as a wench, worse, sometimes used as a weapon. We have seen violence and terror perpetrated by those who profess to stand up for faith, their faith, in fact, betraying the same. In today's world, for example, when hate groups have their own Twitter accounts and other forms of technology in cyberspace, it can even be harder to counteract such intolerance, but God compels us to try. And in this mission, I believe there are a few principles that can guide us, particularly believers or people of faith. We should start with some basic humility. I believe that the starting point of faith is not being so full of ourselves and so confident that you are right and that God speaks only to us and doesn't speak to the others. That God only cares about us and doesn't care about others. That somehow we are alone in possession of the faith. Distinguished friends and colleagues, our job is not to ask that God responds to our notion of truth. Our job is to be true to Him, His word and His commandments. In this way, we develop trust with each other. As people of faith, we are summoned to push back against those who try to distort our religion and religions. And here in Kenya, we will constantly reaffirm that fundamental freedoms, freedom of religion, the right to practice our faith, or how we choose to change our faith, if we choose to practice it, and all that we choose to do so freely and free of any form of persecution and fear and discrimination. The founders of our nation wisely embraced the separation of church and state. Our country does not sponsor a religion, nor does it pressure anyone to practice a particular faith or any faith at all. And the result is a culture where people of all backgrounds and beliefs can freely and proudly worship without fear or coercion, so that when you listen to anyone talk about his or her faith, a faith journey, you know it is real. You know he or she is not saying it because it helps him or her to advance, or because somebody told them to do so. Freedom of religion is a value we will continue to protect and stand up for, and is one that we guard vigilantly as a nation. Whatever our beliefs, whatever our traditions, we must seek to be instruments of peace and bringing light where there is darkness and sowing love where there is hatred. We must seek to render justice, mercy, and compassion to the most vulnerable, to walk with the Lord and ask, who am I to judge? Your Excellency, the President, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude my remarks by citing one biblical prayer by King Solomon, found in 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 7, when God appeared to Solomon and said to him, and I quote, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." And in verse 10, Solomon answers, saying, and I quote, "Give me wisdom and knowledge, that I may lead these people, for who is able to govern these great people of yours?" Close the quotes. That God said to Solomon in verses 11 and 12, and I quote, "Since this is your heart's desire, and you have not asked for wealth, riches, or honor, nor for the death of your enemies, and since you have not asked for a long life, but for wisdom and knowledge to govern my people, over whom I have made you king, therefore wisdom and knowledge will be given to you. And I will also give you wealth, riches, and honor, such as no king who was before you ever had, and none after you will have." Close the quotes. Let us pray like Solomon for divine wisdom to make our country a better place to live in. Let us re-examine ourselves and pray for the wisdom to be instruments of peace, unity, reconciliation, and prosperity for our nation. May God bless you all. God bless Kenya. I thank you.